Okay, in another kind of shape, but following a similar attitude, that was a piece that I did a long time ago for the Brandenburg government in Germany, in Berlin. When they took part in the Universal Expo of Hanover, they asked me to do a piece representing Brandenburg in that event. And I decided to do a piece without a site. That means a piece which was traveling during 1 year for all Brandenburg. Every week was in a different city. And I did something very interesting that was also helped me very much to do the piece in Chicago some years later, which is the idea to be linked in internet. That piece, you probably can see, it's something a little bit lighter in the stomach. That was a monitor. In the chest, it's a black dot. That is a camera which was filming permanently the landscape in front. It was underneath two black dots. It's the sensors. Okay, those sensors had the capacity to recognize movement up 6 meters near. And when somebody was going to the piece, at 6 meters, the piece starts to be in movement. Well, in movement, the lights start to change. It was awakened. And then from your house, you had the possibility to know permanently where the piece was, not exactly itself, but what the piece was looking to. And I think it was very interesting. That was the opening. We did the opening in Potsdam, in a very beautiful palace, Sanssouci, very interesting, which was built up by a king. And that is an example. We installed everything, and people had this capacity to see a homeless piece. Because every time that you are working in the public space, of course, we take a lot of care about the site. But in that case, the site was everywhere, and the piece was just changing a place every... Well, look at that man. He's talking with the piece because the piece was starting the movement, and he was really passionate with. Okay, that is a similar piece that I did in Paris years ago, which is installed, it was installed in a terrace and looking down to the city. And it's a piece which is also changing colors very smoothly. That is other similar pieces. That was the precedent of the pieces that I was installing in the top of a pole. You probably know the history in the old Roman Empire that in Constantinople, it was starting a certain group of people which was not very happy with their politicians, and they decided to live in the top of a column. Okay, they call these people stilitas, people who is living in the stilus, which means column. And I always like that idea when somebody renounces completely to be part of the society, and they have the capacity, like birds, to look at all the reality from above. And that was the beginning of this kind of wars. That is near Lausanne in Switzerland. It's a very tall pole, 10 meters tall, plus the figure. That is a piece that I did in Jacksonville, Florida, some years ago. It's a group of 6, which was a kind of conversation, a similar concept, the piece that I have right here in the Meijer Sculpture Park. But it was not a conversation with words, it was a conversation with colors. As you know, colors has a specific language, and each figure was changing colors in a different rip, in a different speed. It was very interesting. It's a very interesting piece. It's in Jacksonville, you know. Some ones are more alone, some others are more integrated in a group. That is the most recent one that I did. That is in Nice, in south of France. And I just opened that project, I guess it was in last December. And I did a set of 7 figures also like that. And I remember the mayor of the city was really concerned. He said, Jaume, that is not possible. Because you see, immediately it was a bird in the head of each. And the mayor was very unhappy. But I was the most happiest man in the world because I guess it was an announce that the piece was very positive, no? Don't ask me why, it was never two bears, only one. But always in the head, never in the shoulders. And only in the daytime, never in the evening. Well, sometimes it's nice to analyze what's happened when you do a public commission, because maybe in the future you could control these little details which are normally fantastic. That is the figure with my little birds. And then in the evening, which are also changing colors, Nice has this beautiful square in the center of the city, and they install new trams across the city, and in the center square they invite me to do that piece, which is a little bit following the tracks.